When I walk away from my job, on the day I gave birth to my second kid, they wanted me to stay as long as I could because they couldn't find my replacement. So I go in the hospital, I check in, having contraction, then in between I say, hi, I'm in the hospital now. This had to be my last day.
Welcome back to Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut.
And I'm Dawn, SG Budget Babe. Today, unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Positivity here with us. But we don't need him because we have...
Who's Mr. Positive and we have Kai. Hello everyone, my name is Kai. I'm the Managing Director at Rise Media.
Nice.
Thanks for having me.
Always.
Always.
Yes, always. You should come more. Tell Zat to just go.
I did not say
enough,
that.
Zat, enough. You
Enough with Beyonce.
Too much, right? Okay. But yeah, today's topic is an important topic because I think a lot of people are changing careers, whether it's mid-career switch or you quarter life crisis or tech firm. You got laid off because of the market frenzy, and I don't think it's great, but anyway, we don't go there.
Or banking.
Right? So, or banking or whatever. The question is, should you rebound after a layoff? That means immediately after you are out of a job, immediately jump to the next job.
I think it's only pragmatic to do that. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 37 years old this year, guys. I need a backup plan.
Years,
I'm 17.
Yes.
Kidding.
I feel like I'm getting cancelled for doing all these things, right?
Yeah, I think not everyone has the luxury of having extended breaks. Like go for holidays, go to Japan, go to London, just to take some time off. So specific.
Why you say? You look at me. Very specific, huh?
People has responsibilities,
Yes.
And we, I mean, 37 years old, you would probably have mortgage. You have, I don't know if you have car, house, kids. I think that there's a lot of consideration when it comes to the financial aspect of it. Hence, for me, it's only pragmatic. Yeah. But I feel it's also necessary for us to take some time off mentally. And also to just accept this particular area of our lives, right? To just accept it in a way where this is not a reflection of our performance, just so that we don't have that baggage getting dragged to the next workplace. I think it's unfair. Yeah, for your new employer to be facing all your baggage of getting laid off or So I think it is important to take some time off, but still being pragmatic about it.
But underlying that, the base assumption is you can find a next job of the same caliber with the same pay in a quick time, right?
For sure, yes.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
I'll go with no. But that's because I think it's important for everyone to kind of recalibrate, review. If you were retrenched, then it's important to figure out, was it really you? Or was it the role? And if there was anything you could do differently. So I think the after review is important, right? A lot of HRs, they want to do exit interviews with the employee to get an insight for the company. But I think we don't really talk about the other end of the story. The employee should also be given the exit interview to understand why he or she was made redundant and what the company can do to help them transit to the next role, right? So that's a missing piece. But into today's climate also, and I speak as someone who basically is a total workaholic lah. I think people, if you I mean, you know me, right? I'm 100% or 120% workaholic. People always ask me, hey, you don't sleep? Yeah, I sleep very little.
收工未啊？唔會㗎噃，我唔會收工㗎噃，我永遠都做唔完㗎喎啲嘢。
But the key thing is I've always been 100 to 120%. I don't have a break one. So I can totally resonate with what you said about mental, must have a mental break and recalibrate. And I had that when I walk away from my job on the day I gave birth to my second kid.
What?
Really, I resigned, then I was supposed to stay, right? And they wanted me to stay as long as I could because they couldn't find my replacement. So the last day, they couldn't fill it up. You know why? Left empty until the day I gave birth. So I go in the hospital, I check in, having contraction, then in between I say, hi, I'm in the hospital now. This had to be my last day. Well, of course, before that, we already planned and really got to handover lah. So it was all really planned for. But so I really, then I had I think there was a 9-month break. And I used that time to really, reflect, review, upgrade myself. I took online courses and I loved that I was improving, because if you're working, you don't really have a lot of time to self-improve, especially when you have kids, right? Your kid now 18 months cannot tell you, but when until they're like 3-4 years old, then they'll say, Daddy, never spend time with me. How you have the heart to go and do an online course when your kid says that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that time off.
I feel like Skills Future plug is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be sponsored by Skills Future, right?
Singapore Skills Future.
Right.
Workforce Singapore.
Future ready.
Career coaches.
I think their message is to do it on top of your career.
Yeah.
Mine a bit different. Mine take time off your career. You got no time. Yeah. So like I think doing that is important.
Yep.
Then to think of what you want to.
But you really got a lot of time, man. Like 9
next.
months, right? I mean, that is considered like your recovery period, but here you are taking up like courses.
I cannot sit still.
upskilling
Yeah, my husband
yourself.
say like, hey, I thought
Like,
you
whoa.
quit your job. Why you still on the computer all the time? Why
Yeah.
you still on your phone? Then like, don't know. Then he says, my husband says, work always finds me.
Oh.
I never work. Then suddenly my IG work so much things coming in. Then I go and take up this not Skills Future, this LinkedIn courses and all that. Coursera. I signed up for Coursera. I do
Coursera,
courses,
yeah.
Then he was like, siao are you? Just Netflix all day. Like, don't know, I cannot. I don't feel productive. So I
that's
think
good.
like because I run at 100 and 120% all the time, then taking that time is valuable to me. Because otherwise, when would you have this time to recalibrate and review? And I think people, if like I understand it's a privilege financially wise to be able to do this, but people who keep jumping and rebounding right away, right? Sometimes it might be that you're walking the wrong path in life.
Yeah.
You don't realize it because you never stop to look at the direction signs. You just follow.
Oh, love it.
Right?
Yeah.
But only when you stop, you look around, this doesn't seem to be where I need to go. Then you find or you change a new path. But if you always just look at one path, you don't realize that actually on the side there might be a better path. Yeah. So this is why I would go with no. It's important to think. And the truth is, Singaporeans, how many of us really do take time to go and think about that?
That's why we're talking about it, right? Because I think too many people essentially you rebound. Of course, some people willingly do it, and some people they unwillingly do it. They get underemployed, right? This idea of underemployment. Right? We always talk about unemployment, but we don't talk as much about underemployment. Where given this is your caliber, like you've but I mean, if the whole sector restructure, how can you conveniently go into the same sector? It's not so easy, right? Because a lot of people in the same caliber are dropping off at the same time, not because of their inabilities, but because the sector is shrinking, right? So suddenly that 2 job opening is like, 10 people are for it, right? And they're all equally caliber, kind of people. So it is a topic to discuss, right, in the sense of underemployment, right? Because I think based on what you guys are saying, right? I mean, other than the financial privilege that we move that out, the idea here is you assume that you can readily get another job of the same caliber, right? Where if it's a sectorial, closing, it's going to be very hard, right? And that is the part where I have a different take on, like, should you rebound? I feel like instinctively.
Wait, so different from who? He's a yes and I'm a no.
No. Okay. So okay. I have a different take in the sense that I feel like instinctively, I feel that you should rebound. Okay, in the sense that
So you're a yes.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm nuanced. Okay, I'm nuanced. Okay, so instinctively, instinctively, I feel that you should rebound in the sense of like, I have experience not working for a long time, and my stamina will come down quite badly, right? So
true.
There is this thing called work stamina, right? And I don't.
Your momentum also.
Yeah. I mean, it has even this thing called party stamina, right? If you stop partying for a long time, you cannot party, right?
I wouldn't know that. I can't resonate with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So because you don't party, right?
Yeah.
You don't get invited.
I'm usually the light of the party.
I know, because he invites. He's not invited, he invites. Have you not looked at him?
Yeah.
Right? But
I invited you to the Storytellers Collective by Rice Media.
I came, yes.
Okay.
Great invitation. Thank you. Yes. What was I saying? Right.
You just finished saying the instinctively.
Yeah, so instinctively, I feel like you must rebound because if you don't do it, especially when you're in your prime, right? You're in your 40s, you're in your 30s, you are like massively accumulating. It's your best time to do it. If you delay for too long, your stamina comes down, your relevance comes down.
Yeah.
It becomes harder for you to to
Get
come in
back
on the
the
same
momentum.
caliber, right? Even if there is an opening and you get the job, well, your struggle may be quite bad to come back in, and there's a lot of reports on these things also, right? To show that if you don't come in quick, or if the broad workforce stops coming in, it will be harder for them to come in, right? As time plays out, right? So there's that element. So this is where I think is instinctively you should do it. The determinant is how much resources you have to burn. Right? If you have a lot of resources, you can slowly burn and find the place that best fits you, right? You can let the thing tide out. Then, okay, you can do 9 months, you can do 1 year, you can take a sabbatical, take a break, go for it, right? This is the real determinant.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that determinant, then you are forced to essentially move into a space in a quicker fashion, right?
Yeah.
So how much discount then are you going to take on that to get you into something immediately, right? Because highly unlikely you will get into the same job or the thing of a similar standard.
Yeah.
So are you going to pivot into a different sector, take a 20% pay cut, or are you going to take a smaller role elsewhere, or you take the same role in a different sector and you need a learning curve? So all that is determined on how much resources you have already accumulated as an individual. But underpinning all that, I feel you should rebound.
Which is why Budget Babe says, in order to get rid of the indeterminate and the financial consideration, you need to have a side hustle.
Yes.
Because when you have that's for me, right? When I left my job on the day I gave birth, I could only do it and go off for 9 months without worrying too much because I had a side hustle.
Yep.
I had my Instagram, my blog work. And even though this is not my full time, I don't rely on advertisers and sponsored posts for a living, but it is income that can still help to pay the bills.
Yep.
And hence I could take that time to recalibrate and do what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important if you have only one career, one source of income, and you don't ever want to find yourself in a position where you are forced to rebound and you don't get that time to recalibrate, then build a side hustle and it can free you up for all these little things. Yeah. But at the same time, right, I think it's also worth mentioning that society doesn't really look favorably on all these breaks.
Yes.
When you go for a new job, then they will look at your resume, right? So if you have too long of a career break, they will question you.
Yeah.
Most companies,
So
especially
I
in the very
recently
big
had like this
MNCs, right?
interview, right? Session at my office.
Wait, you secretly interviewing other company or?
No.
Or you say,
You interview other people.
I was interviewing a candidate.
Okay.
And then when
Mark,
we were
relax,
Mark.
Relax.
Not going anywhere.
Don't worry.
Am I? So I was like interviewing this candidate, right? And then I was reviewing her like resume, and then she mentioned like to us that like between like this period I was actually like taking like my sabbatical. Somehow like I didn't feel anything about it. Like okay, I didn't think.
No,
too
why
much
you're
about
cool?
It, I mean,
But most HR will not say that. No, I mean, the truth is,
But
most
it's
HR will
slowly,
not,
like,
right?
it's
They will
slowly-
really view it because they'll be like, they'll have so many questions. What do you need to take 1 year off? And then they will doubt. Sometimes they want proof. How to prove?
yeah.
When I went to my next job after that 9-month break, I was asked why I had such a big break lah.
Yeah.
Then not my case. A friend of mine who went through a break because she gave birth. Then when she went for her other company, she had to go through this with her HR to substantiate.
Yeah.
And then, but the person who was asking her was some overseas person lah. So she said, I gave birth.
Right.
Now,
There's
so
a
I take
cultural
time off.
difference. That's one.
Yeah, so they don't understand. Then they ask for
Yes.
proof, She's like, what proof? My baby's birth cert lah. I took time off to be a mom, what? Like, can you prove that you were unemployed and you were a mom? How? Got such proof in Singapore, man? Don't have, right? Really don't have that.
Here's my CDA account. Yeah.
They have a certain cert or something, I can't remember what it is, to show that. But
Right.
Singapore doesn't have, and this was this cultural difference that was asking, but it was like, do you really need to question?
Yeah.
And I think this would continue. HR and companies, especially the big ones, right, will continue to ask because mental wellness is still very new. People expect you to have mental wellness and balance on top of everything you're already juggling. But they don't realize that the average Singaporean now is working and operating at 100, 120, sometimes 200% even.
Yeah.
So where got space for mental wellness? That's why we're the most burnout country, right? Or
It's
one
true.
of.
Come to KL.
Subang
Subang
specifically.
loves you, Subang.
Yeah,
welcomes
Kampung
you.
Subang.
Yeah, tanah kampung. Okay, right. Kampung, not kampung.
No
yes,
kampung.
Yes.
Yeah.
Suburb, Yeah.
Yeah. So until this perception changes, I think that's where you say people instinctively want to rebound, and there's that pressure to rebound right
Yes.
away.
Yes.
It will always be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But can we change this? I'm a bit doubtful. You all really think the next generation we can change this culture and have it such that, the HRs and companies 10, 20 years from now, that future of work, they will not be questioning a career break.
We must shame them lah.
Yeah.
Really, if you want to make a cultural shift, you must shame certain things and cheer other things.
Get the government to endorse.
The government is slowly doing, right? Yeah.
Through TAFEP.
No, it's okay.
I never
That one
seen
I
them
a bit
endorse a
scared to
career
work
with that
with.
way.
It's like a bit scared, right?
They're
But
nice
if you
they're nice
open, we
people.
talk. Okay, right? If you open, we talk, right? But we must. And this is the baseline of all PR campaigns, or even if even you want to change your kids' behavior or your own personal behavior, you celebrate some, you punish some, and then from there over time the thing shifts, right? So you must shame employers that do that, right? You must shame employers that essentially question you like why you on a 2-year break, right? Like, are you still relevant? What's so difficult, right? Come in 3-month probation. If you're not relevant, out you go.
That's the reality. That's why mothers have a hard time getting back to the workforce.
Exactly. And so to change the reality comes with changing that narrative, right? Changing what is considered acceptable, what is right. So you must shame all the people that you don't want, and then you celebrate all the things like, this is very good, right? Over time, this becomes and this is the baseline of cultural shift. People just don't talk about it. People that know.
Yeah.
People that don't know will be like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Right? But this is essentially how you create this thing. And as we talk about it, as more and more people talk about it, you become not fashionable if you're not like that.
True.
Right?
True.
Hey, you're
This
not
is
fashion.
where I will channel Mr. Positivity and say you control what you can and don't bother about what you cannot control.
So who's Mr. Positivity?
Eric lah, right?
The one supposed to be sitting in this seat.
Yeah, but he never come. I want to change the opener already. I say that's a third person.
To my face.
So okay, going back to the control cannot control, right? So what usually Eric would say in this kind of scenario is, if you can't change the culture right now where employers have this negative perception of career gaps and you're task expected to rebound, then you control how long you take to rebound. I think right now the norm is still, I think 1 or 2 months is fine, because typically people also do take that long to find a job. Some jobs take like even 2-3 months worth of interviews, so you could get away with justifying it and say like, I was in between jobs, I was looking for jobs, and the ones that I interviewed for, they had long interview processes and you could lie and get away with it. But I think if someone wants to recalibrate for as long as I did 9 months, then you better control your financial aspect so that you can go and take that without people questioning you.
Or join startup.
Or join Rise Media, is it? Where Rise Media, then the manager won't question.
Hey, are you still a startup? You're not a startup anymore.
SME.
Not startup really, SME.
Yeah. Join startup. Startup, no money to question. Right? Whoever come, they take. It's true. Have you run a startup? If you've never run a startup, you don't know.
Yeah, but actually it's true. I think it's more of the bigger companies that question
with
this.
Boomer HR.
Yeah.
No, cannot see Boomer.
Hey, can. It's okay. Sharon.
Who is Sharon?
You don't know the Singapore version of Karen? It's called Sharon.
I thought her name is Karen.
No, Sharon.
Oh.
Yeah, Singapore version of Karen is Sharon.
Because Singapore, so...
I don't know. This is internet meme. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Clearly.
Okay. So okay, I get. I like it. I like where that's going. Okay. How about I push you one question is, will you then quit without a job? Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. But even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Now back to the show. Okay, that means will you quit without having another job, right? Because now we're talking about like rebound,
don't even
right?
have side hustle, is it?
Don't have side hustle. Don't have like another job waiting for you, right? So what people call naked quitting, right? Like, so will you do that?
Wait, so my scenario counted, no? I have my side hustle, but I quit without a job. I didn't have a career. It's
but you risk manage in that way, right? Because you already have that.
Because that's me, my budget big risk management. Right?
But you take a long time to build that side hustle also, right? Too many years, a lot of commitment.
Almost
okay, so you are out.
Sorry, what's your question again? I was distracted.
Will you quit your job if you don't have something, waiting for you? Don't have another job waiting for you?
No, I hate that kind of uncertainty.
So you will rebound.
I will not rebound, but I will actually at least create like a game plan for myself. Like that uncertainty of like, okay, what am I gonna do next?
So what should be in your game plan then?
Okay, so for instance, like when I was when I first started in the like my career journey, I was a flight attendant with Premium Airlines.
SIA,
Then-
best
Is
airline
it
in the
SIA?
world.
Is it SIA?
Yeah.
Oh,
For 5 years, right?
no wonder got the vibe, huh?
No,
Yeah. yeah.
trying to shut off the vibe,
Yeah.
but
No, cannot. Failing. Right?
failing miserably.
Yeah.
So after that 5 years, right, I wanted to stop flying completely. And then I wanted to move to the media industry. It's so clear, you know, in my head. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop flying because it's just not like my thing. Just like the culture and like the... Okay, that one just aside.
And
It just wasn't what you wanted to stick with all
because
the way really
back then I was still like a very much like introverted. I can only talk to like passengers, you know. I can't interact with like fellow crew. Like empty conversations. Like, hey, makan already or not? Like I don't want to ask whether you makan already or not. I don't care.
Sorry. Sorry. That is not being introverted. You know, that is just like sian. Like your conversations are just boring. Like, who cares? Like, you never see me makan there, right? Like, so okay, but
Okay, going back to the story.
Yeah. So that aside, right? So after 5 years, I decided to like move to the media industry. I went back to school to pursue like my degree program. So while pursuing my degree program at 27 years old, it's actually like quite late to the party already. I actually felt like if I want to compare with my peers, I'm like one level down. So I thought like, okay, it's okay. Let me like find like new opportunities for myself. So I think from then on, I took a side hustle. I had like my own small business when I was like schooling full time.
like what?
No, I cannot say.
Hey, your story.
No need.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
but it was so real for me because that was like the start of like my entrepreneur journey, you know, like, okay, like how do I register a business? And then like, okay, what's like the product? Like how do I market it? Like there's so many, like it was so exciting for me because it's like building like a new product altogether, right? But that whole like business journey of mine, right, managed to sustain like my school like for a couple of years, which I thought like was amazing. I mean, I love the drive, like the hustle. I'm sure you guys are.
So it
I
was
mean, you
a
guys are
great
entrepreneurs, so
side hustle that got monetized quite well.
fast as well.
Ooh.
So I was like, wow, love
Organized party.
it. Okay, so so that like side hustle, with like school, and then from then on, right? Then after my schooling period, that's where I had like opportunities to join the media industry. So I started out as a sports producer for the SEA Games 2015. It was very liberating for me, like for the fact that it was so ambiguous for me, right? Like, okay, now I no longer like fly anymore. So like what's next for me? Like, yeah, I know that I want to be part of like the media industry, but how? So okay, you know what? I'm just gonna like go back to school.
So that gap, how long was there any time in between that you didn't have income coming in?
No.
So it's the same as me. Then why you kick me out?
Sorry, it's because of my side hustle, right? That's one. But of course, like on top of that, I was doing like freelance like training for like schools.
So how long were you jobless for? I mean, not really jobless, but you know, in between that flight attendant
About
versus
like
media.
3 years?
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know, like last time there's no Google Calendar, so you need to depend on your organizer.
Yeah.
Oh my god! He reminded me of those days.
I was so dependent on that. Like, you know, if like my week is not filled up, right, I feel like really nervous about it.
Cannot have empty page, right?
Cannot.
I'm the same.
Cannot,
Yeah.
must like fill up with like everything you can. Like, okay, you're gonna do this. Okay, pay is coming in like this day. So I have like my organizer to ensure that everything, like my day is being filled up with like activities, work, side hustles, like freelance gigs. Yeah. You know.
So I guess the answer here is a yes, You can quit without a job, without something else waiting. But if you're someone who, I think we're quite similar, right? We need to feel productive. Then it's what game plan or what do we use to fill up that space that you don't have, you're not using for your work time anymore.
Yes.
But if you're someone else who doesn't need that, I mean, I know of friends and people who really don't need one. They don't really plan as much. They just, just go wherever life takes them and they just make the best of the situation that they're being put in. And I guess if you're like that, and then for these people, my friends who are this kind, right, they welcome a break from work as really break. Now I go travel and get the thing that I never got a chance, because when you're in a job, how to go and apply for 18 days leave so you can travel along like the whole Europe, right?
Yeah.
So they will take that as an opportunity. Then later come back, then they figure out.
Yeah, actually, I'm from that camp. Right, I'm from that camp that just go lah. Right, if you're done, you're enough, and you actually have enough. That means you are responsible and prudent for yourself. And that's all that you need to account for. Then you're done. Then go lah. If you're done, right? And I think it's about
when you don't have a plan, life surprises you as
exactly.
well.
And I think that's the beauty of it, right? Because when you let it go, you embrace the emptiness. You let things that you never thought would come in enter.
Come in, correct.
Right, so it fills up that empty gap.
Yes.
Naturally, it will happen.
Yeah.
You have time now. You will pick up a new hobby. You will make some new friends. You will do something. You will develop new ideas. You will find new causes to support. That's the emptiness that I feel like a lot of Singaporeans, right, cannot.
Yeah.
Right, like we cannot. We just cannot.
That's why we just continue on the wrong path. We just chuck.
Yeah.
Can I share a story?
Yes.
I met someone recently, and I was very amazed because when she shared about her background, I don't know if she's okay with it. I'll probably send her this episode. I won't say her name.
Don't say her name. Yes.
Yeah, but basically her background was she started out in retail. She did her degree in retail. She was in retail marketing, and then she shared with me how she lost her job. Okay, and as a result, like she had to now very lost. What do I do next? So she went into banking. And banking was not really like, she was okay at it. She was good. She thought she was good at it. But like, it wasn't like her calling or anything. So she just did it, like life just led her on that path. And it was good for that period because we all know, right, banking is a safe sector. You do earn good money. So it's not bad, right? But then her current role is in retail banking for an FI. Isn't that beautiful? And we were talking at how it's just so amazing that life just happened to bring her back to square one. Her retail experience coupled with her banking experience then opened up that new door of retail marketing banking, which she loves. And I told her, I think you're super good at it, honestly. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. So I thought that was amazing. And I think like a lot of people, they're very afraid. I think you and I are like that, right? We don't want to leave anything up to chance.
Yeah.
So we make our own game
like
plan.
Privileged.
We'll create our own game plan.
Yes.
We'll structure our route. If there's no path, we carve our path for ourselves.
Yes.
But the reality is also that sometimes, you just believe and just work hard at your craft.
Yeah.
And magic can happen.
It's
the
true.
opportunities can come. But I think because a lot of us are too afraid.
Yeah.
So we just never let ourselves be vulnerable in a position for that opportunity to come because we're always looking out somewhere and we're blinded to when that perfect opportunity arrives.
Yeah. Do you think that's like unique to like Singaporeans?
No, I think it's a very Asian thing. I think even like, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, especially if you're overseas. Or,
Attack her. Attack.
if you're like a PR thing in Singapore. But I would assume this is also the case for countries like Korea, Hong Kong.
Japan,
basically, very fast-paced,
that's
developed. They hold education in high regards and your career is like your identity. I would presume countries with this kind of culture would experience this problem. Because you get judged, right? If you have no job.
Cultural phenomena.
Yeah, your elders judge you, your mom judge you. Hey, why you hobo? No job, And it's just very stressful.
Yeah, which is why I welcome the unemployment insurance. Right, I mean the government is trying to push that. Right, wow, I really feel like Ministry of Finance or like CPF should sponsor. But anyway, right. So I feel like that is essentially structural changes to create that cultural shift.
Yeah.
Right, because if you want that cultural shift, then you must do things right, and then whether is it things like Skills Future with a salary on top of it, right? Which I think some programs have that as a stipend, subsidized on top of the stipend. Those are essentially, the state cushioning that change, right? Because we all want the best of our people. We want to like maximize, or maybe you're not optimized for this, or you're better there. Yeah, but it's the gap is the cost. Right, and to bridge that cost, someone must pay. Who is paying? Either you pay, your family pay, or the state pays, right? And I'm very happy that the state is doing more, in that situation to try to like close that gap. Of course, I would hope that it's not all about productivity, but anyway, yeah. So
will that spur you to move back to Singapore then?
why everybody ask me this question, right? So I've already established the baseline is Singapore very dense, like very dense, and I live close enough. I come back very often, and all that, right? So yeah lah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so in closing, if someone is on the fence, on whether should they like rebound into work or like change a whole different sector, okay? Change to a whole different sector, what would you advise them?
I would say take some time to reflect, recalibrate, and craft your new game plan. But because of the culture and situation that we are in, don't take more than a few months lah. Because even if you really didn't do anything, it's not like you spend that time in jail or something. But people will worry, right?
Yeah.
So they don't let them even have that worry. Like limit your time, take as little as you can. But if you need more, then don't be afraid. And I think also in order to prepare for that not to even happen, so you're not in that vulnerable position, have a side hustle. Like us.
Yay.
That's why we weren't so scared. You could take 3 years off, I could take 9 months off, and we didn't have that fear.
Yeah.
What's your side hustle? Huh?
I don't want to say.
Okay. So what will you
Very
tell
shy
somebody?
about it.
Yeah.
But I'm quite proud of it lah. But yeah, what is
Go boy, is it? Or something? Very shy.
And
but
now,
okay, yes, yeah.
okay, so what would be your advice for someone who is on the fence about whether to rebound or...
Right. Like for myself, right? I want to believe that like even though you are moving like to another sector, right? That's your question, right? I feel like whatever experience that we have like developed, right? I feel it's applicable.
Yes.
Soft skills, hard skills, everything is applicable. I think like where I'm coming from is that like when I was like flying back then, we are just like what, service people?
Atas
like service people, right? But I feel like that skill set, right, translates to like so many like things.
It
of
does.
like what I do now.
But it's only because you know how to change that.
Yes.
Yeah. So like you could be just
being
an
adaptable.
average
Being
service
adaptable, I think it's very
man or
important
waitress,
when you
but
are.
you could use that to become better at managing conflicts. I'm sure your passengers got conflict,
and you are a lot
dealing
more
difficult customers.
situationally aware.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think like that's very important, like, and it's applicable like to every sectors like. Yeah. So I think like we don't have to shun or be shy about like needing like to move like industry or sectors. I think your skill set is relevant and applicable.
And that's where taking that break might help them, because they could then learn to translate that skill set better for their next employer.
Yeah,
because
for
someone
sure.
who doesn't appreciate that may not understand, actually XSQ and this job got linked, so you have to articulate for them, then they will see the link. But you don't spend time to think, then nobody's gonna spoon feed you how to articulate,
Exactly,
because your combination might be so unique. No one else can articulate except you.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair. Yeah. For me, very simple. Okay, if you have an itch and you can afford to go for the itch, go for it.
Just go.
Yeah, just go. Right.
Just get up and go.
Yeah, get up and go. Right. if you cannot afford to go for the itch, then the pragmatic elements have to come in. You gotta manage the time period, lah.
Yeah.
Right. So you have 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, up to you. Right. And if there was one thing that I could give the person on the fence on deciding whether to shift, ask yourself, like, why do you even want to shift in the first place? And if that reason is strong enough, then go for it lah. What's the word? Shift back lah.
That's true.
It's not so difficult, right? Like,
correct.
half a year, like cannot. Okay, balik kampung.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Balik Subang.
No, not my kampung. Okay, I nationally, like, woo, hey, don't sabo. It's horrible.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
you.
Yeah, if you have any
Thanks for
questions,
having
let
us.
us know. We want to develop more topics that are relevant to you. Put in the comment section below. Okay, see ya.